Good morning, gay people. My name is LenVGC, and welcome back to another video of me playing Pokemon Champions. Today we're going to be testing out this Perish Trap team that LenVGC used in the first global challenge on Champions. This Perish team has been going around quite a bit. He's definitely far from the only one who's used it. It's been pretty consistently doing well in online tournaments. So we're going to just go over a little bit before I jump into the battles. So, the main focus of the Perish team is, of course, the Perish Trap, where you use Mega Gengar's Shadow Tag ability to trap in your opponents, and then use the move Perish Song to ensure that they faint in 3 turns. And usually the standard flow of battle in order to maintain that trap is you lead with Gengar plus one of your support Pokemon, usually Incineroar, but sometimes Sinistcha or Tinkaton, depending on the matchup. And you will click Perish Song and Fake Out turn 1, and then turn 2 you will double protect, and then turn 3 you will switch out Gengar and parting shot yourself to ensure that you get to swap, in which case you will bring Gengar back into Incineroar's slot after the parting shot, and then you will just double protect again, and both of their Pokemon will faint. That is the ideal scenario. Now, the downside to this Perish Trap strategy is that they know you're going to do that, and they can do whatever they've got to do in order to disrupt your plan with that. And so, the reason why Perish Trap is so hard to use is because it is so easily telegraphed. And so what you have to do as the player of the Perish Trap team is you have to not only maintain your flow of battle where you are going towards this Perish Song endgame, you also have to kind of anticipate what can they do to stop me, and how can I stop them from stopping me. And of course there are matchups where Perish Trap is just like not a viable win condition, and that's where Pokemon like Tinkaton and Kommo-o come in. Kommo-o is a really underrated Pokemon right now, and I know I used it in my last video as well, but I think it's just such a great Pokemon because it does have such phenomenal defensive typing aside from fairies, which of course Tinkaton covers that weakness really well. But being able to sit in front of things like Charizard and Kingambit and even Sneasler and just be able to set up and start clicking these really powerful special spread moves is really strong. And Soundproof comes in quite handy, especially against things like Parting Shot and Hyper Voice and a lot of these other sound-based moves that are kind of running around the format. And of course, like, this team can function outside of the Perish Trap mode. Like, all of these Pokemon have an attacking move, they have really good synergy together. Like, I've won games where it's like, I just kind of play Incineroar, Sinistcha, Politoed as like a, you know, not super offensive, but like very defensive Trick Room mode where I'm kind of like chipping away at things until I'm able to get 2 KOs, and then Politoed can use Perish Song to win me the game at the end. And so there's a lot of nuance and like variations to play this team. There's also, of course, the Encore Disable shenanigans, where you can have Gengar next to either Politoed or Tinkaton and Encore your opponent into a move and then disable that move, and because they can't switch out due to the Shadow Tag, they will be forced to struggle and take away a quarter of their health every turn. Now, the stats on this team, I'm going to put a paste in the description of this video, and that is going to be the actual version that LenVGC used in the Global Challenge. These spreads are different, and the reason for that is because I stole this team. Well, I didn't actually. This team is like an amalgamation of a bunch of different teams, and I just didn't change the spreads because they were good enough. So, yeah, the spreads, thank you to whoever made these spreads. Couldn't tell you who it was. But, yeah, they were just kind of in my box, and I said, the moves are right, stats are good enough. If you want to use this version with these spreads, you can't really go wrong. I'm sure that there is a lot of thought put into the ones that LenVGC use, which is why I recommend you use that version. That will be in the description. But, if you're, you know, in a bind and you just want to use this rental code, be my guest. This is what I've been using. It's been doing fine. Yeah, so we're just going to jump into some ladder games with this team, and I'm going to show you guys how it works. Our first matchup, we have actually, this is the team that just won the Victory Road tournament from yesterday, which is today at time of filming, but this is Kleavor, Kingambit, Sneasler, Frostlass, Basculegion, and Whimsicott. I am actually planning on featuring this team later this week, so you will in fact be seeing this team. This is a really cool team. I am a big fan of Kleavor. I was theorying it earlier this week, or last week at this point. And I didn't get my Kleavor team together in time for Victory Road, and then it was on both finalist teams. The two ghost types on this team are definitely intimidating as far as the Perish Trap mode goes. Whimsicott is also kind of annoying for this team. I think that, honestly, just letting Gengar kind of Shadow Ball things is probably a good way to, like, get some base damage down. Now, what I think is going to happen, I think they're going to bring Kingambit, both Ghosts, and Whimsicott. That's what I would bring against Perish. I don't think you need the Cleavor, I don't think you need the Sneasler. This Cleavor does carry Feint, but I don't think it's worth bringing when you have two Ghost types and a Whimsicott. And I'm running out of time, so I'm just gonna bring these things and hope for the best. Yeah, I rambled for too long. I think Tinkaton's going to be really important, especially against Frostlass and Whimsicott. And I think leading Kommo-o is going to be really good because I think they are going to lead Kingambit. Ooh, Cleavor and Basculegion. Okay, so this is not what I was expecting, but it's not bad either. This is another thing that Tinkaton can just kind of dunk on. And I don't really see a whole lot of downside to just clicking Fake Out and setting up a Clangorous Soul, because the Basculegion on this team is Scarfed, and so the best they can do is Wave Crash, or they can Flip Turn, which I don't think I really mind that they do. This Cleavor's Sash with Feint, and so a Gigaton Hammer's not going to kill it, however a Clanging Scales plus a Gigaton Hammer will. And they've just protected this turn, which does mean that I get to Gigaton Hammer it next turn, for sure. So I think that's definitely good. Yeah, so they're just going to Last Respect me for very little damage because they have no stacks on it. And I get up my Clangorous Soul. So I think, yeah, this is a really, really great turn for me. Because now they're locked into Last Respects. And I am definitely faster than this Cleavor. I am just going to Encore it into Protect. Because why the hell not? And I'm going to click my Clanging Scales. Clang, 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 goes to Scales. Yeah, I know. Yeah, so just gonna Last Respects. Okay, that was a crit. Really, really glad we somehow still lived that. Psychotic. I like that we didn't get the KO on the Cleavor, however, very frustrating that we're not faster. There's gotta be... this has to be modest Kommo-o, right? That I'm using by accident, because it's supposed to be Timid max speed, and I'm not outspeeding these Basculegions like I'm supposed to. Let me check this. Let me check the stats on this thing. Hold on. Yeah, this is modest Kommo-o. Okay, my bad. This definitely should be Timid Kommo-o. If you're running this, run Timid Kommo-o. I'm gonna change it after this battle. Because now we're in a position where I can't just click Clanging Scales. I have to Gigaton Hammer the Basculegion and Protect. Because if you're modest, you don't outspeed, Scarf Basculegion after a Scale, or after a Clangorous Soul, which you really should. So that's on me. But yeah, they're just going to Last Respect into the Protect. We're going to Gigaton Hammer. I don't actually think this is going to KO the Basculegion, because Tinkaton's just not very powerful. But it was worth a shot, I think. And now, I think the play here is probably to swap into Sinistcha. And I think we have to let Kommo-o go down here. It's done a lot of damage, and I think we're at a point where we can kind of like start picking off KOs and clean up with Perish Song in the end. So I'm just going to go for one last Clanging Scales and hopefully take out this Basculegion. Because I think what's going to happen is I'm going to get enough health back that I'll survive the Last Respects, and then I can KO the Basculegion before I go down to a Moonblast. Or they go for like an Encore or something. Yeah, that's totally fine. They're going to Encore me into Hammer so that I would struggle. But no such luck. And we actually survived that, which is honestly a lot more than I was hoping for. So I will take that. So we get the Basculegion. The Cleavor's at like 8%. Which means we can definitely take that out with like a Machigacha or something. And then Gengar's going to be in a really, really good position in the late game. So this is definitely a solid position. It's definitely not over by any means, especially because of that. Yeah, so it's looking like I'm gonna get dunked on by a Blizzard. But because everything else they have is relatively because I could set up Trick Room, but if they don't Tailwind, that's kind of a bad spot for me. So I think I want to protect and just kind of let Kommo-o go down and get off some damage into the Frostlass. Because I think that will let me get Tinkaton in, because Tinkaton's in a stellar position because they don't have any, like, reliable way to damage it aside from, like, a Shadow Ball. But if they're Shadow Balling, they're not Blizzarding, which is really important here. So we get off the Protect. Are they going to Tailwind? Okay, so we're going to get the damage off. That's really, really great, because that puts them in range of, like... Yeah, they're in range of Shadow Ball, Gigaton Hammer, whatever. And they're just going to Blizzard. I'm assuming that's a Moonblast to, like, ensure that they KO. Which is, like, fine. Because that's just going to Moonblast into the Protect. Yeah. So, now I think we bring in the Tinkaton. And the Whimsicott really does not bother me at all. I do just want to make sure that we don't get Encored into Oblivion. So I think what I want to do is Rage Powder so that we get Encored into Rage Powder. And then I can Gigaton Hammer the Whimsicott, which is sashed. Or which is not sashed. So I'm thinking... Yeah, because they're going to Encore, because then they won't have Tailwind up, which means we should be able to outspeed the Frostlass. Ugh! I love it when a plan comes. Yeah, because we Rage Powder, which isn't going to redirect anything, it's just going to mean we don't get Encored into... Oh, they Tailwind. Okay, great. So now we can knock them out. With that. Gabonk. Oh, they lived that. Why'd they live that? That's a fat Whimsicott. Why did they live that? Okay. That's fine. I think... So here's the thing. If they Encore me into Gigaton Hammer, it will work this turn, and I don't know if they know that. So I'm gonna click Trick Room to take advantage of their Tailwind. And I'm gonna try to Encore them into Tailwind if they'll let me. I don't think that it's not gonna happen, but like I think clicking Encore is kind of my best bet here. So they just went for Moonblast, it appears. Yeah, they're trying to... Oh, okay, into Tinkaton. Oh yeah, because they have to kill it somehow. This is strange because they are just kind of letting me not only Encore them into Moonblast, which means they can't Encore me into Trick Room, but they're also letting me set up Trick Room. Which means two things. It means I'm getting off a Machagacha this turn, and I'm getting off a Gigaton Hammer, which even if they Protect, then I can Encore them into Protect. So this doesn't really feel like a great turn for them, but I certainly won't complain. It just is good because we're able to put on a lot of pressure. And yeah, so we just get the Machagacha off for free. Unless we miss, which is totally fine. I should have Gigaton Hammer into the Whimsicott knowing that I couldn't Protect. That's on me. Because now they do get a Moonblast off into the Sinistcha. But I don't really mind that because it means we get Gengar in while Tailwind is still up. So that way we can... because now I can Encore the Frostlass into Protect, KO the Whimsicott while it's still locked into Moonblast, and then I'll have a turn to KO the Basculation before the Tailwind expires, because there should be 2 more turns, right? Oh no, this is the last turn of Tailwind. That's bad. Okay, Oh wait, yeah, no, that's bad. Okay, so what we want to do... Oh wait, the Basculation's almost dead. Okay, no, we're good. So I can Encore this into Protect. Ooh, okay, that's also fine. Oh, wait, we killed the Basculegion. It's the Kleavor that's still in the back. I've been playing this whole game like there's a Basculegion in the back. I'm losing it. Oh, I'm losing it. Yeah, no, we KO'd the Basculegion. So it's Kleavor that's almost dead. So now we KO the Whimsicott. Yeah, no, this is actually like super over, because we should be faster, and if we're not faster, then I don't think it matters. Oh, yeah, because we're still in Trick Room. So I might have to install my own Trick Room, but I don't think I care. Let me see. Let me look at the speed on this Gengar, because this is... What is this Gengar? This is 178. So I think this is slower than the Frostlass. I'm willing to bet that. I think it's slower than the Frostlass. So I'm gonna just hammer the Kleavor and Shadow Ball the Frostlass, and I think that might just be game. Yeah, because they close combat the Tinkaton because they have to. We definitely eat that. And then we bonk that. Go bonk! Kleavor's down. And so now we should Shadow Ball the Frostlass. Right? There's no way it's... Oh! Okay, so it's slower Frostlass. But we live. Because Gengar's the GOAT. And Special Defense Drop, which does not matter, because we get our Shadow Ball off, because we're the better Ghost-type Mega thing. Girl Boss Slay. And so the Frostlass goes down. Epic and fierce. So, yeah, that was a bit of a doozy, but we got him. And that's a good example of how this team does not need Perish to win. Even though it may have been a little bit of a struggle, but we did it. We got there in the end. Alright, and for our next battle, we have a hard Trick Room team. We've got Primarina, Farigiraf, Kangaskhan, Conkeldurr, Incineroar, and Drampa. Now, this looks like pretty easy Perish food. I do want to lead Tinkaton because Moldbreaker is going to let us fake out Farigiraf through the Armor Tail. Or fake out Farigiraf's partner through the Armor Tail. And also its typing is just generally good into this team. The only thing they really have to hit it with is Incineroar. Which will be neutered by our own Incineroar, which I do plan on bringing. The last slot, I think, has to be either Sinistcha or Politoed. I kind of like Politoed because that way if Gengar goes down, we have another way to win with Perish. However, I do think Sinistcha is good for healing and redirection. The other thing, though, is, like, what is it realistically redirecting? Like, it's maybe redirecting a Psychic, or... No, it's not worth it. I'm going to bring Politoed because I want to make sure that we have... Like, I want to have the ability to sack Gengar at the end of the first trap, of the first Perish, and then be able to still win with Politoed and Tinkaton and Incineroar. Because I don't think Sinistcha will necessarily let me win in that scenario, especially with Mega Drampa. That kind of worries me a little bit. Okay, perfect. So we've got Farigiraf and Kangaskhan. And I am faster than this Kangaskhan, at least I should be. And I get to fake out through the Armor Tail. So I think they're going to set up Trick Room. And what's neat about that is I don't really care that they're setting up Trick Room. Because I still am going to get to trap them and perish them. So, yeah. The other option is they can Psychic me, but I will live a Psychic, and then I can just go about the trap as normal, because I can also then Encore them into the Psychic. And then they won't be able to set up Trick Room afterwards, which is kind of ideal. So I am going to Mega Evolve my Gengar. They could theoretically Mega Evolve the Kangaskhan. I don't think they do. I am assuming it's Mega Drampa. I think this is going to be the Fake Out Last Resort Kangaskhan. Yeah, so we get off our Fake Out. They were going for Fake Out, and we get off our Perish Song. And so now the question is, Farigiraf, Psychic, or Trick Room? Because I mean, I'd prefer they Psychic. They set up Trick Room, which is okay. Like, I can work with that. So now what I want to do... Yeah, so I think my best play here... I definitely have to switch Tinkaton to Incin, and I definitely have to protect Gengar. Because then the play would be to then Parting Shot, and swap Tinkaton back in. I think this is fairly safe. Because even though I can't lower the Kangaskhan's attack with Intimidate, I can Parting Shot it the next turn. Oh, they're just Hyper Voicing. Okay, interesting. Do they not have Psychic? Do they just know that I was going to protect the Gengar? Oh, it is Hammer Arm. Okay. Glad they missed. So this is definitely... It looks like it's a dual Mega. Like, that is supposed to be a Mega Kangaskhan. It's just not Mega Evolving. So I am going to Parting Shot, and I am going to switch into Tinkaton. I could theoretically get a little screwed over by them doubling into the Incineroar slot. But I'm just kind of hoping that they don't. And even then, I do think I'm still probably okay. I can't imagine this -1 Kangaskhan is doing a ton of damage. And of course, we're like a very bulky... Yeah, we're like almost max defense Gengar. I genuinely think we're fine. But we will see what they end up going for. Yeah, so they did Psychic. Oh, okay, so they Psychic into what is now the Tinkaton. So we got him. And it's the Hammer Arm into the Gengar, doing negligible damage. And now their Perish Trap falls to 1, and then we can just double protect. And they just forfeit, because, I mean, what do you do at that point? Yeah, this team is really great if you want to get the winning battles without losing a Pokemon mission accomplished. Because a lot of times people will just forfeit once you get the first trap off and you haven't lost any Pokemon. Because they realize they just can't come back from that. Which is nice of them to save us time. Okay, we've got this fuck-ass team. So this team's been making some waves. It top cut a couple tournaments. This is the Choice Scarf Vivillon Mega Blastoise team. It is Choice Scarf Vivillon with Rain Dance, along with this Torkoal Trick Room nonsense. It's a little silly and a little goofy, and it does appear to get kind of dunked on by Perish, I will say. I almost want to bench Incineroar here and just go with Sinistcha and Politoed. I don't know if that's necessarily correct. It's not. No, I don't... because I think we always bring Tinkaton because I think they always lead for Farigiraf. And I think we drop... No, I think we drop Politoed, because we don't want to give them the rain if we don't have to. And I think Sinistcha is fairly capable of cleaning up most endgames that don't involve Torkoal. And so I think just kind of ensuring that we play around Trick Room and Torkoal is ideal. But also, I don't see them bringing Torkoal. I wouldn't bring Torkoal here. I think that's, like, just kind of a bad idea with like, Gengar Politoed. I wouldn't bring Torkoal to that. So we're just going to kind of hope that they don't bring it. This is not a fun matchup or a fun team to play against. Because it's just going to end up in a lot of 50-50s. But I think this is actually, like, relatively favorable for us. Because I do think we can pretty freely fake out the Vivillon to stop whatever shenanigans it's up to, and just go for a Perish Song. I don't think we're threatened by a KO from the Blastoise. I know it does have a pretty strong Dark Pulse, but I'm fairly certain we live it. Because this is Fake Out, Shell Smash, Water Spout, Dark Pulse Blastoise, which is so psychotic. But it does mean that we are fairly safe in most scenarios. I will say I'm a little worried about a Shell Smash moment. But I also don't know that there's a lot we could do about that, other than Perish trapping it. So I think this is kind of as good as it's gonna get. Because at that point we kind of just protect, switch to Incin, and either we die and we get Tinkaton back in for a fake out disable, or yeah, I think we kind of just have to play around it the best we can and hope for the best. Yeah, that is a Shell Smash. Again, not really sure that there was going to be much we could do about that. So, I'm assuming they're just going to Water Spout. And so, my first thought is perhaps we sack... Well, so here's the thing. Do we want to sack Tinkaton to the Water Spout? Or do we want to sack Incineroar to the Water Spout? Is the question. Because I almost think we want to sack Tinkaton to the Water Spout and just kind of let it go down. And Encore the Blastoise into whatever it's going to go for this turn. Because I think that adds some predictability considering that the Vivillon is Scarf. So then we know exactly what both of these Pokemon are going for this next turn. And yeah, there's the Water Spout. And so that's going to probably take out Tinkaton, I would imagine. Yeah. It's +2 Mega Blastoise. I would hope it would take it out. And then the Vivillon goes for, I'm assuming a Sleep Powder? Yeah, okay. So, here's the thing now, is... we bring in Incineroar. We fake out the Blastoise. And we disable the Vivillon. Actually, no. We disable the Blastoise. Which probably won't matter because I think we're just going to take a sleep turn here. Yeah, which I don't mind because that does mean we have a 50-50 shot of waking up on our next move. Because this move really doesn't matter all that much. Because now their Perish count is down to 1. And I have to switch my Gengar out this turn anyway. And since they're locked into Sleep Powder, I know Sinistcha's not going to sleep. I'm assuming they just click Water Spout here again, which Sinistcha, I guess, is really our best bet to take that anyway. The problem is it really, really heavily depends on what they have in the back. To see whether or not we have a shot at taking this game, because it's really looking a little rough. But Cassib Berry on Sinistcha does help a lot into what is probably a Basculegion. So we're hoping that that's a Water Spout and that we don't take a ton of damage. Nope, it's a Dark Pulse. Ouchies! Okay, that's really bad. Yeah, so this is a little rough. Because there's a Sash Basculegion in the back. Which means we do have to hit it twice in order to kill it. There's also another Pokemon in the back, which I would assume is a Farigiraf, which would be good. Like, I'm honestly really hoping it's Farigiraf and Basculegion, because that we can win against. Basculegion and... fuck yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. We're Pasha Berry Incineroar, which means that a Throat Chop plus a Shadow Ball is going to kill the Basculegion. The problem is we are still asleep. We do need to wake up right now. But the good news is they can't set up Trick Room because then we can kill the Basculegion. And so they're going to go for a Helping Hand. Does not matter. We will still live. That's fine. We wake up. We get the Shadow Ball. And that means we will KO the Basculegion because we bring it down to Sash. Incineroar will take the KO. Then the Farigiraf cannot touch Incineroar, which means we will win the game. So they're going to go for a Helping Hand Liquidation here. But we're Pasha Berry, which means we live the hit no matter what. Because even through Helping Hand, we still take that. And so now we hit the Throat Chop, Basculegion goes down, and now Bob's your uncle. And so now the Farigiraf, I'm assuming, is Helping Hand Psychic Protect Trick Room. It might have Thunderbolt, which would be bad. I'm actually going to Protect and Shadow Ball. And here's why. Because I think they're going to go for the Thunderbolt this turn, and I want to disable that and then Throat Chop it. Because I'm pretty sure this Ferrograv has Thunderbolt. And if it doesn't, then... Because they would have forfeited by now if they didn't have a move to hit my Incineroar. Yes, they do have Thunderbolt. Ha! I'm so good at this game. And so now, we can go for the Throat Chop and the Disable. And then they won't be able to touch Incineroar. And we'll be able to get enough Throat Chops off that they won't be able to win the game. God, I love being so smart. And also, like, doing your research helps a lot here, because in Best of 1, you're playing on ladder. Like, we've now played 3 different teams that I was very familiar... Well, 2 different teams I was very familiar with. And so, one of the things about doing your research, a lot of these teams, if you know what to expect from them, they're a lot easier to play against in this Best of 1 format. And so, I think that's really, like, an important thing to do, because, like, it's not terribly difficult. The VGC Paste repository is going to have a lot of these teams. I'll link that in the description. Watching videos of content creators like me, or like Aaron Zhang, Wolfe Glick, The Battle Room, Colin Heyer, James Beck, all of these people... Oh, that wasn't supposed to do that. Oh, they forfeited. Okay, cool, we win. I wasn't paying enough attention. I was kind of just rambling at that point. I don't know why they were able to Thunderbolt me. Did I disable the different move? I don't know. But whatever it was, I still win. We take those. But yeah, looking at these teams that other content creators are using, because we're all just trying to show off these teams that are doing well in Best of 1 or Best of 3. And so when you're playing on ladder, being able to recognize, oh, this is a team that did well, they are most likely going to have these sets, and playing in that way can kind of, you know, knock down an element of surprise for a lot of these teams. And of course, people are able to change the sets on these teams. Like, obviously, you can, you know, use Replica Team and mess with the sets and stuff, and catch people off guard that way. If you use, you know, the same 6 Pokemon as a popular team and completely change the sets, you know, your Bastion Legion Scarf instead of Sash, and you know, put the Sash on the Whimsicott, and you do all these things, like, you can catch people off guard with that. But you also have to remember, like, a lot of times people are going to take these replica teams and test them out and see how they feel, and so you can, if you know what to look for, you know, take advantage of that and get yourself some ladder points. Okay, we've got 2014, my beloved. So this is a vintage team of Garchomp, a Bisharp that has evolved, a Gardevoir, a Rotom Wash, Talonflame, and Kangaskhan. As someone who played a lot of VGC 2014 back in the day, this brings me great joy. This team also gets absolutely dunked on by Parrish. Yeah, I think my lead is probably gonna... I think my lead is probably gonna be Tinkaton and Gengar. Only because I don't want... I don't want to fall into the trap of a Kingambit lead. And honestly, Incineroar is just not really that valuable to me here. Especially considering... Well, actually, no, because I think they're going to lead Garchomp Kingambit, and I think that Incineroar is very valuable to me in that scenario, because it does intimidate the Garchomp, and I can take out the Kingambit, and then I'm fine. Yeah, I'm going to bring just the standard Parrish slop. I will say Kommo-o Tinkaton does do pretty well here, and if this were a best of 3, I do think that if I lost game 1 with Parrish, I would be able to win games 2 and 3 with Kommo-o Tinkaton. But I do really want to show off the Parrish mode of this team, and so we're going to give it a try and see how it goes. Okay, that is not the lead I expected at all, however, it is not a bad lead by any means. So they've traced the Cursed Body. So here's the thing, is I am expecting a Fake Out and a Psychic into Gengar. Or alternatively, a Fake Out into Incineroar and a Psychic into Gengar. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to Mega Evolve and Protect. I'm actually going to switch into Sinistcha. because what I want to be able to do is Rage Powder away a Psychic and be able to set Perish that way, because I think that's going to be a bit more effective. And see, this is what I mean when it's like, yes, you have your kind of like linear way of playing this team, but you kind of have to adapt on the fly. And this is Mega Gardevoir with the normal Kangaskhan. Okay, I see you, I see you. And so yeah, it's likely going to be a scrappy fake out into one of these Pokemon in the Psychic into Gengar. Ooh, a Protect. Okay, weird. Confusing. Double Edge into Gengar. Okay, not at all what I expected. Had I just gone for the fake out Trick Room, or the fake out Perish Song, that would have been fine, but whatever. Now I am going to go for the Rage Powder Perish Song, and I think that's going to lock things up pretty nicely, if I'm not mistaken. Because we get to click the Rage Powder. That's going to draw away the Double Edge and the Psychic. Get the Perish Song off. And then we can kind of go through the motions a little bit. Yeah, Double Edge does a fair amount. Do we take a Psychic? I would hope we take a Psychic. Oh, they're going for Hyper Voice. Okay, interesting. Very, very interesting plays here. So I think now it's just Protect, switch to Incineroar. Yeah, this is really, really interesting to me. I don't really know what to I mean, I'm assuming it's just going to be another, like, Double Edge... Another, like, Double Edge Hyper Voice? Maybe you should take that just fine. I'm just, like, a little... I'm confused more than anything else, really, I think. Yeah, Double Edge into Gengar, and then a Hyper Voice? Yeah. I think they're just trying to put damage on things as much as they can, so that they can hopefully, like, burst me down with whatever they have in the back, but I don't think they're gonna have that opportunity, really. Because I'm just gonna switch back into Sinistcha, and I'm gonna Parting Shot it, because then either they kill Sinistcha and then I get Gengar back in anyway, or they don't kill Sinistcha and I get to just Parting Shot it. Because I don't mind losing Sinistcha right now, I just don't want to lose Gengar. Because I think a fast Perish Song is what's going to win me this game in the end. Especially if there's a Kingambit in the back, I'm a little worried about it. I don't want to get dunked on. So in comes that, and we do get some healing on the Incineroar, which is really nice. It means we're going to be able to take an attack. Yeah, so we do eat the Double Edge, which is fine. It means I'm going to Parting Shot into nothing. And it just fully does not matter. We're going to take a pretty solid Hyper Voice. Oh, a Psychic! Huh, okay. Yeah, I guess they were Psychicking that slot in anticipation of a Parting Shot, but they go first, so it's kind of a done deal. So now we just bring in Gengar and we get our double Protect. And then it's just about getting off that last Perish Song and surviving 3 turns against whatever they have in the back, which could get a little spooky depending on what it is. Especially because I have a feeling it's probably like a Garchomp Kingambit, which is like worst case scenario kinda. But I also, like, what are we gonna do about it now, you know? But we're gonna try our best, is what we're gonna do. Because I don't think it's lost by any means, if that is what they have in the back. It's just kind of very set dependent. We may have to get a little creative. If there is a Rotom Wash in the back, we're totally good. We're totally good. Yep, there's Kingambit, and I'm assuming the last one's Garchomp? It's Rotom Wash! Oh, I love it here. Okay, yes, we're totally fine. So yeah, I'm just gonna Perish Song. And I'm gonna Parting Shot Rotom. and then we should be pretty much in the clear. Because even if they KO... Oh, and they missed the Hydro Pump. This is why we don't run Hydro Pump, kids. It's a bad move. It's a bad move that misses. And then we're going to get the Politoed in. And this isn't, like, totally ideal because it does mean we give the Kingambit a Defiant boost. But I don't think it's going to matter. Because now their things both have Perish Counter on them, and neither of our things do. So they're going to have to get a double KO, which they don't realize they can't do because we have a Pasha Berry. Because their only way to do it is they're going to have to... Because we're going to double protect this turn. They're going to have to Hydro Pump KO Incineroar and Kowtow Cleave crit KO Politoed. But unless they crit... They're going to have to crit both, really, I think is the only way that they could possibly win. And even then I don't think it's guaranteed that they will KO. Because Politoed is deceptively bulky. And so we're going to let the Perish count tick down. Oh, and they're also -1 on the Rotom, so they really have to crit. We're just going to Encore them into Kowtow Cleave just in case. And Moment of Truth, let's see. Hydro Pump does connect. We eat the Pasha Berry. Does it crit? It does not crit. We win. And we Encore them into Kowtow Cleave, which honestly doesn't even matter. Just might make them target the wrong slot, which would be really funny. But even then, yeah, they're gonna hit the Politoed, we live, they would have needed a crit. We get our Citrus Berry, and then we just double protect to win the game. And that's a wrap on Perish. So yeah, this team is really, really fun. It's very difficult to use. It requires a lot of knowledge of, like, not only how Perish works, but also how people respond to Perish. And as you can see, like, a lot of times during these games, like, I would assume they would do one thing, and then see they would do something completely different. And that's because maybe their plan for how they were going to get through the Perish wasn't what I would personally do. And that did sometimes complicate things for us, as you saw. But overall, it's just kind of about adjusting on the fly to get to the end game of, you know, there needs to be 2 Pokemon at the end to Perish Song, and that's kind of how it goes. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Again, let me know what you thought, any teams you want to see me try, any suggestions for future content, any notes about this video. I'm always accepting feedback. Again, very new at this, still learning, still growing, still changing, still being a little puss. So yeah, let me know what you think, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe, so that I know you like my stuff and so you don't miss it, because YouTube sucks. And yeah, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Goodbye!